Hello, my name is Taja Little, and today I will be talking to you about building academic language in classrooms, especially for your English language learners. According to edglossary.org, academic language refers to the oral, written, auditory, and visual language proficiency required to learn effectively in schools and academic programs. In America, academic English may be used synonymously with academic language because the dominant language in the American classroom is English, although the two terms may be defined differently in different regions. Since the education profession is so fond of acronyms, it is important to know that when academic language is intentionally taught or monitored, it may be referred to as academic language development or ALD. What it boils down to is that academic language is the language that students need in order to be successful. These are vocabulary needed to understand the concept, make it easier the next year when they add to the concept, and pass state tests. For example, if you only refer to an area model as the box method because your students understand what a box is, you are setting them up for failure on the STAR test because it asks you to select an equation to match the area model. Students will not know what it is asking for, even though they know the concept. English is arguably the most complex language to learn. Have you noticed that when children start speaking in whole sentences, they make mistakes like foots, minds, dogses, and others? It's because there are many exceptions to the many rules in our language. This can continue for many years. For ELLs, this is even more difficult. Our words are alien. For Spanish-speaking students, we don't even say things in the same order. For example, I may say Lynette's house, but in Spanish it would be Casa de la Lynette, literally, house of Lynette. Some of these words look foreign even to me. While this course is designed to teach about ELLs, these strategies apply to native English learners as well. The point of me bringing all this up is the struggle is real, not just for ELLs, but for everyone. And this does not even count Dr. Seuss books with crazy made-up words. Working to build a classroom environment and lessons that foster both learning and the use of academic language can be challenging, but will benefit all students from diverse language and socioeconomic backgrounds. I mention socioeconomic backgrounds because I am student teaching in a district where the majority of students are well below the poverty level. For the majority of the students, their parents are undereducated. This impacts our language development because parents are the first teachers. Academic language should have a formality to it and be complex in nature. It should be based on research and not personal observation. Also, personal pronouns should be limited. All of this should happen at an age or developmentally appropriate level. For example, don't expect a kindergartner to say, I hesitate to articulate for the fear that I might deviate from the true course of rectitude. Expect, I don't know. Ways to implement include, but are not limited to, scaffolding instruction. For example, the student needs to know what a spider is before you can teach the term arachnid. Grade level appropriateness is essential. Don't try to teach above the level unless it is for enrichment purposes or one of those awesome little teachable moments. Hands-on activities help students visualize and manipulate elements of complex content. For example, for ELLs, some words are already unfamiliar, and teachers try to teach information about a topic that the student is unsure what it is. A non-native English student may not yet know the English word for giraffe. If you start talking about how giraffes have long necks to reach the leaves on trees without making sure that the student knows what a giraffe is, suddenly your student is learning about dinosaurs. Interaction among peers in an academic setting can help develop both academic and social language for students. Some research suggests that placing ELLs at a lower language level with those at a higher language level can facilitate academic language growth because the higher level can translate complex concepts for the lower level. Other research is showing that this is not always the case. Just because students speak the same language doesn't mean that the students will get along well enough to work together. For example, rivalry football teams, soccer, is a real issue in some cultures. Placing students from opposing teams next to each other could result in violence in the classroom. You have to know the background of your students. Lastly, incorporating reading, writing, and speaking in all subject areas every day can be difficult. However, this strategy can really help the development of the English language and help both ELLs and native English-speaking students with complex content. Let's face it, the TEKS are asking for students to do things that they're not always developmentally ready for. But research shows that ELLs vary in academic and social language experiences. It is important to know the culture and socioeconomic background of all of your students, but even more important for you to know this information for your ELLs. Do Jose's parents speak English? Does Jose go home and speak Spanish? Does this make homework and studying at home more difficult for him? One evaluation found that preschool books can contain complex or rare words. As a teacher, we may say teachable moment, but to an ELL, this makes it even more difficult. Considering the needs of your English language learners is essential in order to build an academic language classroom and help them move towards success. Thank you for listening.